Hello everybody and welcome back to From Rhythm to Algorithm Part 6, Word Games. We've introduced a brand new logical operator, the empirical value function. What is that? This episode we're going to address that question. The empirical value function differentiates statements. The empirical value function differentiates good from bad. And the best way to see this is with word games. So what we're going to do is just go through the structure and the flow and the responses and all the idiosyncrasies from Family Feud, America Says, Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune, and you're going to see how everyone's a mathematical genius in real time. But the other thing I wanted to point out is you can immediately see what the empirical value function is and how it differentiates good from bad. It differentiates good from bad morally, but more generally than morally, it differentiates good and bad logic. How many people have ever heard a good emotional argument? Nobody. All arguments are logical. And that's literally what you're saying, what you're referencing when you use the words good or bad 100% of the time. Because the difference is, well, you say different words. I'm a native English speaker. A lot of people are native English speakers, or at least have a control or command over the language. Well, what's the difference? What's the difference between the usage of these words? Yes, yeah, sure, fine, okay. Vibrational information theory. My phone settings right now are silent, vibrate, or ring. There's our fundamental syllable. There's our vibration is the basis of sound. Like this is a fundamental sound dichotomistic pair. What's the difference between when do you say when do you say You say when you don't agree. You say when you do agree. So I'm not sure, Institute for Advanced Study, I'm not sure how quantum field theory is ever going to get to that. But anyway, let's check out our word games. So and we're also going to be discussing the game show 25 words or less. So I'll just talk you through some of the game structure, but just go watch it yourself. These are all popular. Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy, all over America, prime time, everyone knows. America Says is like pretty much always on the Game Show Network and also on like local networks, I think like 5 or 6 o'clock. And Family Feud, everyone knows that one. 25 words or less. 25 words or less and America Says might be lesser known. The other three, everyone knows what those are. Like how the game is played. So the thing I want to point out about Wheel of Fortune, and I have a star on 25 words or less. I think that's the best example of the empirical value function. But I would like to file a fraudulent lawsuit. Not really, but there's a hint for not Final Jeopardy. There's a hint for the bonus round on Wheel of Fortune, and it's always like thing, living thing. Thing is literally the most general word ever, so never pick that. Living thing is literally ing thing, but that is the second most general thing ever. So if you're a contestant on Wheel of Fortune, literally never pick either of those two things. Because those categories, those classes, they're not going to inform your empirical value function about literally anything. So I don't know if Wheel of Fortune's aware of that, but that's pretty shitty. But I'm just joking about the lawsuit. But for Jeopardy, R.I.P. Alex Trebek, he just recently passed away. I was a big fan of his show. But this is why they answer, the two things I wanted to talk about here is this is why they answer questions with the response, what is, and then the answer. It's because effectively the show is giving you the answer. And for correct grammar, you structure it as what is. It is what it is, what is. And then another thing, not super relevant to the empirical value function, but just I wanted to take a note on accumulating general knowledge. I'm still, at this point in my life, I would still consider myself a very terrible to maybe average trivia player. but I do have a good sense of how people accumulate a lot of general knowledge. When I was younger watching Jeopardy, I used to think that they like had some sort of study material or like just some, here's what you look over before. And now I know that's not true. When you study history, or you take your "it is what it is" statement and you go through history or math or physics or whatever, there's really just not that many things people remember in any great detail. So there's a lot of mundane knowledge out there, but once you start building bases of knowledge in a bunch of different research areas or just general knowledge areas, watching the contestants know a bunch of seemingly random trivia facts is a lot more just understandable. But as a kid, I did not really understand how people could have so much general knowledge for trivia shows. And now for America Says, this game, they poll a random sample of Americans, they ask them a question, and they give them the first letter of the answer of the most responded things. So, what did I want to say? Well, first of all, like the producers of the show, both for America Says and Family Feud, where they're polling the public, they have to construct questions. The producers have to use their empirical value function to construct questions that are not super general, but not super specific either. And a lot of times, these all have time limits, but America Says, I really like you see the time limit put pressure on the contestants, and what will happen is both America Says and Family Feud, they will run out of guesses. Like, they won't know what to say next. And for two reasons. One, because the question might be genuinely too general, or it's really hard to guess. But also because people, when you're literally under pressure and you're around people, they say a word, your empirical value function immediately starts calculating, analyzing, analogizing, that's not a word, about that word. So then you have to take back their logic and then try to guess, and when it's a wrong answer, and try to guess the right answer. But the right or wrong answer typically gets stuck in your head. You'll see that all the time. Because they'll go through specifically on America Says, they'll be stuck on, and the bonus round, I would say, is when you really see this. Just go watch the show. But they will have one word left to get the $10,000, and then they won't get it, and then they'll show the answer, and it was a really obvious word that everyone knows, for sure knows, everyone could have guessed. And then so you see locality affecting language in the most direct way. Check the camera. Restarted my camera there for a second. But so for Family Feud, the things I wanted to point out about the empirical value functions are the answers regarding sex. Or not necessarily sex, but there's a lot of, right, the contestants up there with their families, and they'll ask them some question, and our big breathtaking theory of the universe is not die and reproduce. Everyone thinks about sex literally all the time. So you'll see stuff like some awkward old dude be like, instead of saying penis, we'll say dong, right? Ding dong, right? There's the fundamental syllable again. But everyone knows what they're talking about, and there's no confusion. And then a lot of times on the Family Feud answer boards, the producers of the show will put funny answers up there as well. And no one's confused about how a dong relates to a big willy or something. And so that's just, you just see the empirical value function. Again, people being awkward talking about sex because they're just underdeveloped, and then two, connecting literal words that have no direct connection, but the logic is completely consistent. And so then Steve Harvey jokes. I'm a big fan of Steve Harvey. I think he's a pretty funny dude. But to have a good host, and Michael sees something, whoever the America Says guy is pretty good as well. I think he's pretty funny. But when they're giving shit back and forth with the contestants, they have to sit there with their empirical value function and say, okay, right, Family Feud, good answer, good answer, good answer. But he has to sit there and say, okay, Why wasn't that a good answer? Now how do I make a funny retort to that? Or how do I joke about that? And you have to do it all in real time, right? And that's your empirical value function. That's Steve Harvey doing rampant mathematical derivations. And then I have fast money. That's the same kind of I've already covered the stuff of just repeating answers and guessing what other. But it's well, For America says as well, but like I said, the producers of the show have to ask the public, they have to sit there and think about questions, again, that are not too specific and not too general. And we've covered good answer. And the last one I wanted to cover was 25 words or less. And I like this one because what they do is they give please just go watch the show, but they give contestants a pool of words, and they start with 25 words. Two contestants see two lists of 5 words that they have to describe to other people. They can't say any word or form of the word that they're trying to get their partner to guess. And they start with a bidding war. It starts with 25 words. The two contestants see the 5 words, and then they bid each other down to say who can do it who can get their partners to guess the correct answer with as little amount of words as possible. Hence 25 words or less. But what you see them doing is saying, okay, what am I going to say to my partner to get them to guess the word that I'm looking at right now? And a lot of times, almost not all of the times, but a lot of the times, you'll see natural opposites. They'll say the word not, right? Those are your dichotomistic pairs. That is why they do that. Indicates different logical indication, or indicates different logical responses, yes or no, agreement or disagreement. Saying not is a lot of the times the most expedient hint to guessing the dichotomy. And they have ranked question difficulty. Again, the producers of the show considering which words are literally harder to access with analogy. And that's very easy for anyone to do. I actually do the show where I try to be a contestant, and it's difficult for me. That might be all I wanted to say on the word games. But again, just a great way to see people doing real mathematical derivation in real time. Thanks for watching From Rhythm to Algorithm Part 6 Word Games.